Hi everyone, today let's talk about Sam Altman, then we'll take a quick look at the charts before the Sunday video, as well as my results for the day and my thoughts going into the Monday session. If you like trading stocks and options and making money, definitely like and subscribe. I make videos like this every single day that the markets are open as well as Sundays, so make sure you hit the bell so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Welcome to the Portfolio Bulletin. Let's get started. So I just wanted to close the chapter on this Sam Altman saga. He was originally fired by OpenAI. Microsoft decided to back him as well as a bunch of employees. They also threatened to hire him as well as a bunch of employees, meaning that OpenAI would effectively cease to exist. And now ultimately he has been rehired along with former Salesforce CEO Bret Taylor, and a bunch of board members that forced him out originally are no longer on the board. And it seems like he has now retaken OpenAI as the CEO, and now Microsoft got their way as well. So this will be interesting to see how they do going forward, but it seems like business as usual now for OpenAI. Moving over to the charts just for a moment, we basically went nowhere. Let's go ahead and zoom in on the S&Ps on the hourly chart. You can see we did rally a little bit into the pre-market, went sideways throughout the day, basically unchanged. You can see we were up 0.06% on the daily chart. We are continuing to respect this trend line on that daily chart, which is interesting. We got there for the first time on Monday, and then we gapped down, held at that level, gapped up, tested that trend again, and now we are still in that same zone. Definitely interesting. If this rally is going to fail, this is certainly an area where it could do it. Momentum on the daily chart continues to fail. We are at overbought conditions, and you can see we absolutely are in sideways chop and consolidation here on the hourly chart. So definitely some indicators to pay attention to, but still very much a strong uptrend. Similarly here on the NASDAQ, sideways chop, actually slightly bearish day, almost 0.25%, 0.023 to the downside. We talked about how this was a double top between the after hours price action on Monday and then the high here on Wednesday. Then we pulled back slightly from that area. You can see we're just below my 390.50 level, which is not great, but still holding that 387 level. If this structure breaks down, then I'm going to be a little bit more concerned. You can see that double top with that midpoint at 387. Definitely interesting. And then zooming in on the daily chart, you can see big rally, gap down, gap up, wick rejection, gap down. That's not great. Momentum starting to fade, RSI breaking down a little bit. Again, still very much a bullish trend, but showing some signs of weakness on momentum. Definitely something to pay attention to. Moving over to the Dow and the Russell. The Russell, on the other hand, not showing signs of rejection. Got very close to that 9 EMA on the daily chart. Rallied pretty aggressively, up 0.5%, holding right at my level, 179.17. I do think we might see another test of that 200 on Monday. So we had the push up, slight pullback, held that level, rallied up again. Want to see it get above 179.17. We're not quite there yet, but it does look better than it did yesterday. Momentum still not great, but RSI not overbought, meaning that we could see a nice swing up to 183 possibly there. Definitely something to watch. And then looking at the Dow, again, very strong. Gap up yesterday, rallied, gap up again, rallied, got above 153.62. And everything here on the Dow continues to look strong. Next level for me, 356.48. And then 359.27. And in terms of structural, that next high is the end of July high, which is that 356 level. Moving over to Apple and Tesla, again, kind of a double top, very similar to the NASDAQ structure. Then we pulled back. We're right at that level, 189.96. Just below it by a penny. We closed below it on that first candle of the day, then rallied back up to it. Again, does seem to be losing momentum on Apple, which is going to drive the NASDAQ lower if this structure breaks. Next level for me, 186.81. And then looking at Tesla, continues to struggle. We had a double top, pulled back, tested the 200 here today. Then we're pulling back from that again. If 232.57 breaks, along with these two EMAs here, the 55 and the 144, then you see a lot of room back down to 214 and this previous consolidation. Overall, both of these look pretty weak in my opinion. Moving over to staples and discretionary, staples continues to look strong. Another big rally. People moving into those more conservative stocks. Looks like it's about to take out this high from 15 November, push up to 70.80. And then above that, I have 72.50. Structure still looks very good here on staples. Discretionaries, still sideways chop, still right in the same range from yesterday. We did throw a wick to the high from 15 November, which is interesting. If we can get above that level, then you're looking at 170.68. But right now, momentum's bearish. RSI looks kind of neutral, more towards bearish below the SMA. Again, more risk off in my opinion. Moving over to yields just for a moment, you can see we did get a slight pop in yields here today. 2-year had been basing, got a little pop above that structure. We're at the 21, looks okay to the upside, which again is a little bit bearish for equities. And then we were watching this downward triangle, and now we're seeing a pop above that structure, above the 9 EMA. Momentum continuing to tick towards bullish. RSI looking towards bullish on yields. If we can get back up to 40.55, that's going to be bearish for equities. Got the 21 EMA sitting behind that. This does not look great on yields, which is probably going to be a detriment for the NASDAQ stocks going into next week. Moving over to the dollar, again, another big bearish day, which is good for equities. That's probably keeping equities alive while yields went a little bit higher today. So 0.36% back below that 103 level, back below all the EMAs and SMAs on the daily chart. RSI could get into oversold conditions again here. If we do not get a weaker RSI read, that's going to look like a bottoming formation on the dollar, which will not be good for equities. And then looking at this daily chart, you can see we basically sold off throughout, some slight pullbacks, but looks pretty weak. Did get into oversold conditions here on the hourly chart, which is not great. Might see a shorter term pullback. And if we do see that, we have to look at this as starting to be a structure, which could give us some weakness in equities. However, moving over to volatility, both of these continue to sell off. Move index selling off, momentum bearish, RSI bearish. Similarly on the VIX, big sell off, more than 3% to the downside, below 1275 now, which was these previous wick lows. We're below all of those levels now. Next one for me is that 1177 area. Could get all the way into oversold conditions on the VIX now. And if we do get into oversold conditions, that is a good indicator that we need to be looking for a topping formation. We're not there yet. Again, just continuing to watch this as we go forward. Moving over to my accounts, I didn't do anything in my main account, but I did go ahead and pick up an IWM. I do think we'll see at least one more pop a little bit higher going into the Monday session. Did take a small hit on these shares as they did pull back from the level that I was watching, but you can see we're at a good level, 179.27. I think it pulled back a little bit after hours. Yeah, you can see 179.08. But again, does look a little bit stronger than the NASDAQ. You can see almost 1% to the upside, just a little bit short of that, while the NASDAQ was down about 0.25% or thereabouts. Got these calls giving me lots of protection, ended up with a slight profit despite being down a little bit on share price. Still had plenty of room in terms of protection to the downside and plenty of opportunity to the upside. I considered rolling these down here today, but I went ahead and took a pause. We'll see how it plays out on Monday. I want to see another breakdown in terms of structure before I start making some moves to these calls. Overall, slight pullback. Might see a little bit of bullishness, but it's definitely seeing some weakness across markets and waiting for more evidence in either direction. Let me know down in the comment section what you think of Sam Altman or the charts after this happy Thanksgiving, and where are we going in next week's charts. Definitely like and subscribe if you got any value out of this video, and make sure you hit the bell so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Of course, none of this is financial advice. This is all for entertainment purposes. Good luck in your trading and have a great day.